Hi everybody, it's Tom from FindTheBestCarPrice.com. Today we're going to take a look at the 2022 Land Rover Range Rover Sport. This is the HSE Dynamic model that we're going to be taking a look at. Its exterior color is Fuji white, and we'll just take a quick look into the interior here at the Pimento and Ebony interior. A very nice look. In fact, I think this is the perfect color combination for what is under the hood, and we'll talk a little bit more about exactly what that is when we get to that point in the video. So let's take a look at the exterior and see exactly what we have. A very elegant look all the way around. The Fuji white accented by a lot of gloss black here. The classic look here on the grille, this upper grille, Land Rover logo right there, and the lower grille as well, looking very nice. But one thing that I do like here that sets these apart from some of their competition is what you will find right here that you won't find on a lot of competitors of the Range Rover Sport, and that is a functional vent on both sides. You've also got the air right here that's flowing through, helping out with a lot of things. You can cool, the brakes are even being cooled with air flowing and all that good stuff. Very elegant look on the lights here, whether it's the headlights, the LED headlights, and since I don't have the ignition on here in the showroom where we're shooting today, I can't necessarily show you all that as well, but elegant look. The LED headlights, the daytime running lights, the blinkers are sure on with the hazard lights, all that good stuff. Now, let's talk a little bit more about functionality here. You do have functional vents right here. Those are actually heat extractors, which will help out with all the heat coming from that high horsepower motor that's under the hood. But for whatever reason, these are not functional. Not quite sure why that is. I don't think it would have been that hard to make that work. More gloss black here with the heated power folding side view mirrors, turn signal indicators built in. I do like the fact that you have the gloss around the windows here, deep tinted rear windows. And the 275/40 tires, that would not look good if it didn't have those black 22-inch rims. That makes a big difference. Let's work our way around to the back, and while we're doing that, I will show you the remote. So let's take a quick look there. Pretty easy to figure out. It's a very nice, sturdy remote, and just show you what's on the back there. So obviously we can open the rear area right here. I do like the fact you've got the rear roof spoiler right here. Something that I'm kind of surprised again that some of the competitors of the Range Rover Sport don't have is the fact that the rear window wiper is actually right here. It's concealed away here, right here inside of that rear roof spoiler. That makes a big difference. It just makes it look cleaner that way. So let's go ahead and open this up. Towing numbers come in at 7,716 pounds. And as Carrie's showing you around in there, you're going to have the 24.8 all the way up to 62.2 cubic feet. You also have the 12-volt power outlet right there. And what I'm going to do is show you real quick how to lower these rear seats. We're going to lower just one half of these 60/40 split rear seats, but as you can see, that is how you maximize your cargo space. Very easy to do. And then we'll also come back here and show you something very interesting. I think Carrie probably showed you these buttons right here. Well, let me show you exactly what they do. It's for raising and lowering the air suspension, and depending on your situation, well, if the vehicle is raised up, depending on where you've been driving, I'm just going to raise it up here, and somebody comes back here and says, well, I'd like to have an easier time offloading cargo. Well, all you have to do is push that lower button, and as you can see, I'm going to drop that all the way down. Big advantage of that air suspension that this model has. Here under the hood, my personal favorite feature for the current engine options available. It's the 5-liter supercharged V8, 518 horsepower, 461 pounds-feet of torque, mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission and ultimately putting power to the ground through all-wheel drive. One thing that you won't find with this engine combination is superb gas mileage. Not that Range Rover Sport owners are so concerned about that. I know I sure wouldn't be, because I would never achieve these numbers. They'd be lower. 17 miles per gallon estimated city, 22 on the highway, 19 combined. And according to Land Rover, if you're really good, which I wouldn't be, you should go through 5.3 gallons of gas per every 100 miles you drive. So we'll start out here in the back seat. You can obviously see how well I fit back here. Let me see, make sure I'm sitting all the way up. But it's very comfortable back here, a lot of space. Before we get too deep in here, I'll let Carrie show you the door panel right there and everything that you'll find there, from the control for raising and lowering the window, the power window there. Also, that indicator that you see on the top of the armrest right there to remind passengers to make sure there's nothing coming when they open the door that could hit the door. Also, the door bin right there. You have a larger door bin in the front, but you do have a decent sized door bin right there. You've got the map pockets, or whatever you want to call those, right here in the rear. You can put things there however you want. And let me lower this. You're not only going to have the cup holders here, but I think you have a sandwich holder there too. You could put a perfect sandwich in there, as long as it's not too tall. Then you could actually close that if you had maybe something that was done in a toaster oven and squished down or something like that. But that's not the only thing that's here. You can also use this as a pass-through to maybe put the skis through here from the rear cargo area, or whatever the case is. Being all-wheel drive, obviously you can go skiing and have no trouble getting around on those slick roads. Now, one thing about this HSE dynamic version is it's not going to have, at least not with the way this one's optioned out, you won't have the nerve center here of sorts, the control center that you would have in other models. But you still have the dual air conditioning vents, a little bit of storage here, maybe put a phone in there. And then there's 2 USB ports here and a 12-volt power outlet. But there's something very interesting. I think it's a little bit backwards, but we'll talk about exactly what that backwards thing is when we hop into the front seat. But before we do that, I'll have Carrie pan right up here. You got the nice panoramic sunroof that I think is going to keep rear seat passengers very well occupied, especially when it's starry night, nice clear night outside, or maybe you're just driving around and they're looking at, well, whatever they can see. Okay, let's take a look at the front seat, and we'll start with the passenger side door over there. Everything pretty much the same of what we saw in the back seat, with one exception, a much larger door bin. We talked about how you could put a sandwich there in the armrest area with that where the cup holders are. Well, you can put all the makings for the sandwiches right there in the door bin, and then that just makes it a whole lot easier to get things done and, hey, take advantage of your storage, right? Very comfortable seating here. The Pimento and Ebony just looking spectacular here. Very nicely bolstered. These are heated only, but you can get the option of heated and ventilated. And something that I really like here, you've got the button right here to let you open the upper glove box. A lot of space in there, probably a little bit hard to see because it's so dark in here, but not a big deal, even though somebody might say something in the comments about that. You never know. And the lower glove box also. So a lot of space there. But I want to show you the main areas of attraction here. We'll have Carrie hop on inside. A very modern look here. We look at the dashboard right here. We've got really what amounts to a digital dashboard. Very well laid out. You've got the speed limit sign recognition right there. The digital speedometer above that, surrounded by the analog speedometer and the analog tachometer. Everything very easy to use. Also, very nice, large, for when driving in dynamic mode, shifter paddles. Drive spiritedly. Just makes it more fun that way, shifting through those 8 gears and the 8-speed transmission. And the way that Land Rover has done everything here with the steering wheel mounted controls, it just really sets it apart from other models on the road. These Land Rovers don't have the typical just buttons right there. Everything is actually more kind of digital in a way that's actually lit, so it looks very nice. But one thing I want to show besides the push button start right there, we won't start it up here in the showroom, but here's something interesting that you might not have ever seen. Here on the upper screen, you have the plus and the minus. Now here's what most people do. They just do this to get the screen to come up. Let me show you what you can do besides that. You don't have to actually tap it like that. And I'm not going to take all the plastic off today just because, well, it's here inside the showroom with the dealership, so we're going to leave that on the way they have it. But the reason I say that is because obviously it's not going to make all those noises. If you can hear that, I don't know if my lapel mic is picking that up or not, but let's go ahead and drop that back down. Yeah, you can probably hear that very well. We'll X out of there and just show you what's here. It's very easy to figure out. You've got navigation. We'll bring that up real fast. Very nice. And see how fast that came up. I like that. But something that really impressed me is the clarity of the cameras. The rear view camera on this model, even though we're here in the showroom, and we have a cameo appearance by Marcus right there. I don't know if he'll see this video or not. It'd be funny if he does. But you can see him walking through the shot very clearly. That makes a difference. So everything here is super simple, easy to figure out. But I like the action going on down here on the lower screen. Of course, you've got the controls for your fan speed and the temperature and all that good stuff with the air conditioning. You also have the heated seats here, just so you can see what's there. But also, the thing I love here is the fact that you have all your different driving modes depending on what you want to do. We'll just run through a couple of those just to show you what's there. I don't want to go through everything, but you can kind of figure it out based on what the icons look like. But let's go over here to dynamic mode, because there is something else that I would like to show you. You notice over here on the right-hand side of the screen, you have that little helmet right there. Let's push on that and see exactly what happens. It's going to come up on the upper screen, but it gives you a lot of options for how you set the vehicle up, depending on how you want it to ride, how you want it to drive, and the different options. We won't be able to show as much here as I'd like to, just because the engine's not running and everything, but that's okay. Let's go through a couple of other things. You can also time yourself depending on what you're doing and see what if you improved your driving skills, improve your lap times, G meters, all that good stuff. I mean, it is so cool to see what's here and even see how much throttle and brake you're using. Obviously, I can't show that right now just because of the fact that we're here in the showroom at Land Rover Shreveport. And how exactly does all of this stuff happen? Well, you've got the shifter right here. I don't have to really tell you too much about that. And let me reset some things here real quick just so that we can show you. You can conceal this away. You also have your cup holders, but here is what's interesting, is the fact that you have down inside this area, there is a USB port down there. Now that's not the only one. There's also a USB port or two inside the center console here. Now here's what's interesting. You have two passengers in the front, the driver and the passenger, and three in the rear. You have three USB ports here in the front with two people and two USB ports in the rear with three people. That's kind of interesting, isn't it? Oh well, we're not trying to give Land Rover a hard time. Now, one thing that's not here is the refrigerated console. You don't have the refrigerator right here, but that is an option that's available. So I'm going to go ahead and close down the lid on the console here. We're going to come back here. One thing that I want to point out is that you can select your way through different driving modes with the dial right here. But if you don't want to do that, you can just push that down and it will do it automatically for you. The vehicle will actually do that for you. And up here on the upper console, everything kind of easy to figure out as far as your map lights. This is how you open and close that sliding sunroof, the panoramic sunroof. And if you want to hide that away, then you can bring the shade forward. Pretty nice and simple to use. A lot of great technology that really isn't hard to learn if you've never had a vehicle like this before.
To learn more about the model in today's video, visit the link in the description for a detailed comparison between trims and pricing for the vehicle we featured or any vehicle you may be interested in. These pages feature information such as our recommended trim level based on price, value, and features. Thank you for taking the time to watch today's video. We look forward to seeing you next time.